And we are live. It feels like it's been a while since I've done an open late, but here we are. I'm Adam. This is Open Late. Today we will be taking a look at I think it's a Walmart exclusive, I guess. G.I. Joe Classified Retro Series Snake Eyes. There he is. So we get this nice big old card back, very reminiscent of the vintage figures, the vintage card back. So I guess that's why it's the retro. I would love to have the whiteboard. I don't think I've done I realized that I haven't done a retro carded figure unboxing. I have a couple of them. I got the Lady J and I got the Gung Ho, but I don't remember doing unboxings of those figures. Maybe I did and I just can't remember. I should have checked, but anyway. So if some of this is repetitive, um, you know, let me know. But anyway, I would have loved to have the sort of white border that the vintage cards had, back in the 80s when they were doing them with the white trim. It kind of just made it pop a little bit more. It made it look a little bit more premium. I don't know what it is, just design wise, it just seemed a little bit cleaner, a little bit tighter, a little bit nicer. It could entirely just be that that's what I had as a kid, and so I just want that as an adult now. Regardless, it doesn't have the white. Look, let's be honest. There's a whole lot going on with this card that I don't really care about. Um, well, let's get into it. So here he is in his card. Art very reminiscent of the very first sort of vintage version from 82 or 83, depending on sort of which version it was. And then on the back we have an attempt at a file card. An attempt at sort of showing what other figures are available. But then there's a whole bunch of legalese. I say an attempt at a file card. I mean, they're trying, but we got English, we got French, we got Spanish, we got, I think, German, and then Portuguese or something like that. I don't know. I'm not 100% certain what all of the languages are. um, English, French, uh, German, and Spanish I'm certain of. I just don't know what the fifth one is, but regardless, you don't get much file card on here because you've got too many languages competing for space, and this takes up a good portion of the card back too. Like, this is a bigger file card than the vintage stuff, and still managed to have like less file card type stuff. um but it is what it is. I open everything. I didn't buy this for the file card. I didn't buy it for the card at all. I didn't buy it for any other reason than I absolutely love Snake Eyes. um Now, as far as this version of Snake Eyes goes, I really wanted this one because it is very much a retro inspired one. This is, a lot of these retro carded figures are just a redeco of existing figures. This is like a totally different Snake Eyes than we've got previously in the classified line. Uh, it's a different Snake Eyes, but it's not a different figure, and we'll get to that when I sort of get them out of the package and get a closer look at them. Um, and we're going to take a look at how close this is to the vintage one. We're going to take a look at how this compares to the other Commando Snake Eyes that they've done in classified, and compare them to a couple other classified Snake Eyes. But anyway, let's get them out of the card, or out of the bubble, I guess. I don't know. And take a closer look at the figure itself. I pre-cut this with my big old kitchen knife, and just because it's faster. So there's the card sort of without the figure in there. It's still, I mean, it's a good callback to the vintage stuff. It would have been cool if they could have done the figure and then the sort of accessories in a separate bubble. But I'm not complaining. Like I said, I don't really care about the card that much anyway. There he is, sort of in the plastic tray. It would also be cool if they could do him just sort of loose in the bubble. I don't know. Maybe they can't do that. Maybe there's QC stuff going on there. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. You get what you get. I'm opening it, so it doesn't make a difference. Some of these little accessories, like these little grenades, are not going to come out easily. Well, there we go. Okay. Once I get them out, I'll check in with the comments. Hold on. All right. That's the ASMR portion of the show complete. You get the stands, which I think is a nice addition. You don't need them, but they're good to have. They're fun. It's a good throwback to the vintage stuff. All right, let me just tighten up the shot, and we will take a closer look. Literally going to take a closer look. If I can get this to sort of settle down. There we go. That'll do. All right, let's take a look. Just very quickly, I'm going to say hello to everybody in the chat. Paints Toy Samples first, Samrock second. Good on you, Paints. Sam is normally first. Facebook user, who I can only assume I know who it is, says White Trim was my band's name in high school. Treasures, oh, come on, my computer. There we go. Treasures for Trigger says, Yo, Joe. Indeed. Facebook user, yeah. All right, so let's take a closer look at the accessories. We get the Uzi, which we've seen with a couple versions of Snake Eyes already. And I'm pretty sure that this is the same version that we've seen with a couple figures, but we will take a closer look when we do a little bit more of a comparison momentarily. We get a knife. We get a pistol. We get a silencer or a suppressor for said pistol. I don't honestly know what the difference is, so I couldn't tell you why there's two names for it. I will ask a friend because I know somebody who will know the answer to that. We get his little satchel. I always assumed this was explosives in this, but I'm not 100% certain. But I'm going to keep assuming that it's explosives in here. And then we get two of these tiny little, grenades of some sort, smoke bombs of some sort. I don't know what they are. Being that he's sort of a commando, I kind of always thought that these were like smoke bombs, that these were not grenades. And maybe that canister is meant to be sort of one or the. Maybe the canister is meant to be one or the other, and I don't know. So maybe I will. I'm gonna ask a friend, the same person that would know about the silencer / suppressor, will probably know the answer about those canisters. So, yeah. My favorite Snake Eyes quote. I was gonna use that quote in the video description, but I decided not to. Facebook user says, I think he carries a Sergeant Slaughter figure in his purse. That could very well be. I mean, respect to Slaughter. There's probably lots of Joes that would do that. Anyway, that's the accessories, including the stand. Let's take a look at the figure, and it's a great looking figure. This is very, very reminiscent of the vintage figure, with sort of this sort of full black outfit, um, full black with very, very limited amounts. There's sort of another shade of like a really dark green gray, to highlight some of the bits on his web gear, a couple of the buckles on his straps there and stuff like that. But really just a plain black figure, which is cool. I appreciate that they did that because of, several of the previous versions from the classified line have had a little bit more color, whether it's, a brown or a gray or what have you. And this is sort of true to the vintage. Now I have the vintage version 1 as well as the vintage version 1.5. It's no big deal. But I grabbed the Hasbro re-release that came out just for a comparison. And there's the tiny purse versus the updated purse, and design wise, detail wise, like they're pretty similar. Like they're you've got the same thing going on, right? The bag itself with what looks to be 3 explosives in each of them. So very, very true to the original. The web gear. Let me see if I can get these sort of in scale to each other and excuse the essential tremor. It's gonna be a bit shaky. You'll have to live with that. But he's got the knife on the web gear. He's got the grenade on this one. It looks more like a sort of the smoke canister on that one. Something on the leg, something on the other leg. The only thing that's really different is that this guy, the vintage one, has like a smooth boot. There's not a lot detail wise going on with the boot, whereas this guy has a lace up boot. So he is modernized ever so slightly. But a really, really true representation of the vintage figure. And to that end too, and I didn't pull it out because I didn't think of it in time. But this, the vintage figure was basically Stalker reused, with essentially no deco. And so I thought it was pretty clever that they used the classified Stalker as the base for this Snake Eyes. So if we take a closer look at these figures, the Snake Eyes is a head, well, not head to toe, torso, sort of neck to toe, reuse of Stalker. So different neck, different head, but and different hands as well. Now that I'm looking a little bit closer, well, yeah, different hands. I'm gonna say different hands. I could be wrong. They're pretty similar. But yeah, essentially it's the same figure. So it again, a very cool nod to the sort of this sort of parts reuse, this sort of shared parts that we saw in the vintage line. You can sort of complain about parts reuse as much as you want. It allows us to have this version of Snake Eyes that sort of fits with what we had in the vintage stuff. Now, as far as sort of a commando version of Snake Eyes, this is pretty clean. This is pretty tidy. I personally really like this one. But that being said, I've liked every version of Snake Eyes that they've done in the classified line. And I'm just going to adjust all this stuff and kind of set him up with his accessories so we can get a better idea of what he carries and what he doesn't. And I'm not going to do the articulation. If you've got a classified figure, you know what the articulation does with a classified figure, so I'll skip that. But compared to Stalker, he's even got the same web gear and secondaries and stuff like that. So we've seen this knife, we've seen the pistol, we've seen the suppressor. I'm gonna call it a suppressor because why not? Because I can do what I want. Let's put this in here as well. Get his bag over his shoulder. Now I think now they're gonna prove me wrong, and no, yeah, I think you can clip these on. Now whether they will stay or not is another story, but his web gear is sitting a bit high. But again, when he gets a hot bath, that will get fixed, and so I'm not worried about that at all. Oh, come on. There we go. I mean, I could put one in his hand, but I'm not going to, because that would bore you to tears to watch me try to do that. Because you're already bored watching me do what I'm doing now. So anyway, or I presume that you are, because I am. Just kidding. All right, so let's get him on the back on the stand, and then we will do a bit of a comparison between this guy and some of the other Snake Eyes that we've got. But all in all, like I said, a very, very nice looking figure. If you like Snake Eyes, I would say that this is probably the closest that we've got to any sort of the vintage versions. As far as like truly accurate to the vintage versions. Facebook user says Snake Eyes will always be a cool character. Yeah, I mean, there's just something really appealing about the fact that he's silent, about the fact that, you know, he's just this kind of lone wolf character. He's classified. Everything's classified, right? His name is classified. His place of birth is classified. We don't know that much about him. Like, the mystery is kind of what's fun. And Facebook user also says Stalker is really great too. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agree. Can we get a close-up of the head, please? Yes, I will definitely do that. And I will definitely do that when I'm doing a comparison between him and the other Commando Snake Eyes, because it's a new head. It is a unique head sculpt for this figure. Brick said, these two figures, Commando Snake Eyes and Stalker, were my childhood favorite. Stalker on a ram. Aw, buddy. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, let's take a little bit closer look. So like I said, as far as like the vintage to this guy, the head sculpt is like bang on. You've got the sort of goggled look rather than the visor that we see with the Ninja one. He's got sort of the two breathing holes in the mask, which are on the classified figure as well. So it's like I said, truly a vintage look. This one was a little bit more updated. There's a little bit more going on to the texture on the goggle strap. There's a little bit more sort of texture to the mask, so on and so forth. But there are the head sculpts next to each other, so you can sort of see that the retro carded one is a simpler version. There's less detail. It's smoother. There's not as much texture, like I said. A little bit of detailing on the back of the head, but it's definitely not the same one that we got with the Commando Snake Eyes that came with Timber. And just looking at his weapon there, I think it's the same. I'm going to say that it's the same. I'm going to say that it's, close enough that it's, well, it's close, but I'm not 100% certain it's the same. It might be different. They might have changed some of the details. Now, I don't know if that's just down to a different factory or a different production run, but the Commando one looks a little bit cleaner, a little bit crisper. The detail is a little bit sharper, which is sort of in line with everything. There's more texture, there's more detail, there's more stuff going on relative to this guy, and so maybe that's intentional. I don't know. But anyway, those are the two Commando versions that we've had, and then comparing him to the I mean, it's a good version, but it's not the best work that they've done in Classified. So this is the Snake Eyes movie sort of ninja version, which we see for all of like 3 minutes, which is why I think it's kind of a weird whatever. It's cool. I like this figure. It just whatever. He goes in the back. Then comparing him to which ninja version do we want to look at? I got them all just because why not? Comparing him to the Fortnite Disco version. No, I'm just messing. I'm gonna just put these in the back just because I love Snake Eyes, and I like I said, every version that they give us, I will happily buy. They are such minor differences between all these versions, but all worth it. Okay, so this is the second version, I guess, because 00 was the first version. But comparing this one to what I thought was sort of a great representation of the version 2 Snake Eyes. This is a very modernized version of the version 2 Snake Eyes, which I absolutely love, and I still, love this buck, love this design. It's an absolutely stunning figure. For the people that really want a vintage inspired, true to the 3 3/4 inch Snake Eyes, I'm going to say that this is without a doubt the closest to the vintage figures. Like I said, even down to like the fact that they redid the head sculpt instead of just, they could have just reused the Commando Snake Eyes head sculpt that we already got, but they didn't. They chose to put that head on there. Added a few accessories that we haven't seen yet, which is kind of a cool thing. Like I said, the man purse, the satchel, but then sort of upgrading that with the little grenades there was pretty cool. And he is a great looking figure. He's going to look great on anybody's shelf. I strategically got all my Snake Eyes placed on sort of different areas of the shelf, different sections of the shelf, so that I don't have all the Snake Eyes in one spot. My vintage Snake Eyes shelf, I got all the Snake Eyes in one spot. But for the classified stuff, I kind of separated a little bit. But so there he is. There is the Commando Snake Eyes, retro carded Commando Snake Eyes, with all the other Snake Eyes in the background, with the exception of one. This is the first. This was the redeco. This does not have the red dot. The red dot one is on another shelf. I didn't want to pull it up because it didn't serve any purpose to have him in this shot as well. Let me just get a little bit tighter shot here with all the Snake Eyes. There they are. They're like zebras. They all just blend in, right? Questions, comments? What do we got? Keeping it tight today, doing a quick video because I've got to get going on some other projects that I'm working on. But Facebook user, do you think Snake Eyes is Chuckles? No, and how dare you? Snake Eyes is not Chuckles. Obviously, they are not one and the same. They couldn't be more different. How dare you? How dare you, indeed. I can't wait to get Chuckles though, and the fact that we've sort of gotten Chuckles as, I think at this point, a name-only reveal, right? Didn't they say that he's coming for San Diego Comic-Con? Have they said that? Or is that a rumor? I also heard that if you've been following, Hasbro Pulse did that little release of sort of cryptic messages And a lot of people were saying that Longfellow is Chuckles. So like it's Chuckles reporting from, being undercover or whatever. And I could see that. That makes sense to me. I hope they continue with those little, information, um, cryptic information dispatched from the field kind of thing. It's just, especially if they're going to use the code names and stuff like that. It's just it sort of adds a layer of fun to the storytelling, which I think has kind of been lacking a little bit, if I'm being honest. Like I would love to have a little bit more um story. Like they keep mentioning, they keep talking about like, oh, we pick which figures we make based on what based on like what makes sense for the story that we're trying to tell and blah blah blah. But they're not trying to tell a story. I don't know why they keep banging on about like, oh, we're telling a story with these. Okay, so tell me the story. Give me some lore. Give me, give me something. I mean, I guess we still have GI Joe and other media. There's another book coming. There's more comic books coming. Hopefully, a lot more comic books coming. We'll see. Still haven't heard who the new publisher is going to be for the GI Joe comic books, but anyways, that's all I got. That's it's, like I said, a short one today. Not much to more to say. This figure looks absolutely phenomenal. I would strongly recommend people go out and pick it up if you can find it. He's not super easy to find, but hit up your Walmarts, hit up the app, hit up the website, so on and so forth. But been an absolute pleasure. As I always say, it's definitely more fun to open toys with friends. So thank you to all of you that have joined me today, and I will talk to you all again very, very soon. Bye bye.